Hey everyone, welcome once again to yet another live stream on Hack This Falls YouTube channel. I can already see the hype in the chat. You all have been super amazing right from the day one. And thanks a lot for putting that energy in the chat. I see you have been, counting down from 10 to 1 and to 0. Promo, of course, it has been one of the thrilling, you know, energy added aspect of every live stream which we have observed. But thanks a lot. Let's bring in your favorite emojis in the chat. Let us increase the level up to yet another level. But volume 100% energy, definitely, that is so true. And I miss last minute chat due to power. That's absolutely fine, but I'm glad you are back here. Sheetal, thanks a lot for joining. Waiting for this session since so long. Definitely, we all have been waiting. Pauline will be joining us and she'll be sharing everything around how to move your local dev environment to the cloud, and can't wait for that as well. So, meanwhile, you all bring in your favorite emojis in the chat. Let me quickly let you all know what Hack This Fall is all about. It is a 48 hours virtual hackathon that we are bringing on 22nd to 24th of October, especially for you. It's a hackathon not to miss, so make sure you have registered. All the required links are there in the description. I will not take much of your time. Let me quickly invite our speaker for this particular session, Pauline. Hi, Pauline. How's it going?
Hi everyone. Thank you so much for having me. It's so nice to see the chat. It's on fire. Everyone is so
Yeah.
excited and hyped. I hope I can provide a good session for you all today.
Definitely you will, and we are quite looking forward to the same as well. And as Sheetal mentioned in the chat, Pauline op. Op means overpowered. So this is
Yes.
a keyword which we use. But thanks once again for joining us. We'll start with your introduction. I'll bring up your screen as well at the same time.
Yes, that sounds good. I can kick us off. Amazing. Well, yes, hi again, everyone. Again, I'm just super excited to be part of Hack This Fall. Today, I'll be talking about how moving your local dev environment to the cloud may give you a better developer experience overall as we move away from the more brittle local development environments and the challenges that often come with local dev environments. And I'll also try and touch upon how, cloud dev environments may be a great thing for you, especially in the hackathon space, and just workshops and events in general as well. So just to kick us off, hi everyone, I'm Pauline. So for those who may have not heard of me before, I'm currently a community engineer at Gitpod, and what my role entails is a lot of helping build and support our wonderful developer community, and also advocating the power of Gitpod and why you should move to the cloud. So I think the industry word for my role right now is in DevRel, and it's my dream role, and it's actually my first time. I only joined Gitpod 3 months ago now, and I'm having the absolute best time, and I get to talk to people like you, so that's super exciting. I just wanted to say as well, I have a very special space in my heart for MLH, Major League Hacking, just because when I was a student around going on to 4 years ago now, I also took part in MLH hackathons. I even hosted one myself. It was in 2018 with HackMed. So the hackathon that I organized was around helping out the medical industry and science as a whole, and bringing together the intersection of tech and science, because at the time I was studying biomedical sciences. And so MLH and hackathons in general is really special to me. So I'm really happy that you're all taking part. And, it's probably one of the best places to grow as an individual and kickstart your career in tech. And I really do credit a lot of my success so far in tech to the communities that I've been a part of. And MLH is definitely one of those. So really excited that you're all here. I just wanted to say as well, I'm happy to take questions at the end. I'll try and speed through my content so we have plenty of time for questions. But yeah, feel free to start putting them in the chat as I go through my presentation. So yeah, that's me. Hello, hello. Oh, I see all the purple hearts. It's nice. Oh, that's lovely. Okay, so Gitpod then. What is Gitpod? Some of you may have not heard of us. Some of you may confuse us with other services like GitHub or GitLab. So let me try and demystify what Gitpod is actually. So Gitpod is an open source developer platform that uses the automation to provision ready to code development environments, and is essentially designed to run applications in the cloud. So the whole point of Gitpod is to free engineering teams and individual engineers as well from the friction of manually setting up local dev environments, therefore saving dozens of hours and just time, and enables a new level of collaboration to create applications much more quickly than before. So essentially, we create developer environments in the cloud, enabling you to just get started, get ready to code. So instead of going from setting loads of things up, we can just, because at the end of the day, all developers want to do is code, be creative, build things. And so we want to remove the friction that we often experience as developers when it comes to setting up environments. So the best way to sort of demonstrate that is this classic example. So on the left here, you see what it looks like right now if you're developing locally. So as you can see here, we've got what do you need to do if you need to start coding, whether that's contributing to open source or you're starting your new project. You need to do a Git checkout. You need to, in this case, update your local dev environment. You need to download new libraries, install tools, wait for builds, update dependencies, compile projects, wait for tests, and then finally start coding. So there's quite a lot of steps there, and there's a lot of friction when it comes to just wanting to start to code. Like as developers and engineers, why do we need to go through all of these different steps when it seems like we automate a lot of other things in the whole development workflow? Why can't this developer environments be part of that as well? So our whole purpose at Gitpod is to remove this friction that we've described and we've looked at. And therefore, our main aim is just to make sure that software engineering can be collaborative, joyful, and secure. So we're not constantly, when everything is on our local machine, there's a lot of security risks that's part of that, and it can be quite frustrating when you're trying to collaborate with others. And sometimes the whole process of just installing dependencies and nothing working when it worked the last time you open it is just very frustrating. So with Gitpod, all of that frustration is sort of like the history now. Like that's over now. So what Gitpod allows you to do is it creates fresh, automated, ready-to-code dev environments for each task in the cloud in seconds. So you've got your Git repository, you install Gitpod, and then you click a button and you start coding, and it's just there. It just starts. Like I said, developers are automating everything else, like infrastructure as code, for example, CI/CD, but developer environments was that gap that was missing. Why haven't we automated that? And that's basically what Gitpod is aiming to do. So that your local machine and your local environment is no longer no longer tied to that, and you can just focus on what's important, which is coding, right? That's amazing. So just to give you a bit of an idea of how you can start with Gitpod, because I understand when sometimes I explain this to people, they're just like, whoa, that's like, I don't understand. How does that even happen? Like, how does it work? So right now, if you want to get started with Gitpod, Gitpod is actually natively integrated with GitLab, GitHub, and Bitbucket. So what Gitpod does is it automatically and continuously pre-builds your dev environments for all of your branches. And all you need to do is either download the browser extension or prefix a GitLab, GitHub, or Bitbucket repo with HTTPS gitpod.io/hash. And that works And if you're welcome to try it on your personal repos right now, or maybe after this talk. But as a result of this, team members can, or individual contributors can instantly just start coding with a fresh dev environment for each new task, no matter if you're building a new feature, want to fix a bug, or work on a code review. So we'll talk about context in a bit, but essentially think of Gitpod as your own isolated dev environment that has everything that you need for your specific, for example, if you're building a new feature, everything's in one workspace, in one pod. And then, for example, if you're editing a PR, or you're reviewing a PR, you can go into that PR context as well using Gitpod, and it doesn't bother with your feature branch or whatever. You just focus on your PR. So it's very, very clever in terms of that. And so what happens when you get started with Gitpod and you have this browser extension? So this is actually what opens up. You have your workspace. And this might be very familiar to you, hopefully. This is VS Code. So essentially, you've got all the things that you usually will see on VS Code when you want to start editing. You've got your file, you've got your code base, you've got your extension, search, Git. You've also got your terminal, because Gitpod supports Docker, and it's basically a full Linux machine. And you also have your different terminal windows. So you can have multiple terminal windows open for example, installing dependencies for Git, or for several different servers that you need to bring up. And I've highlighted a few cool things here as well. So number one, you can see your you can see your branch. Number two, you've got a share button. So sharing, if you want to share your Gitpod workspace, you can do so by sharing the URL or creating a snapshot. And whoever you share that URL with, you have that workspace, and whoever is looking at whoever you're collaborating with can see what you're working on. And there's also like live preview, so you can see the other person typing as well. And then number three here, you've got your ports. So when you click that, you can see all of your ports that you need for your application. And number four, that just goes through like your user settings, making sure that if, for example, if you open up like 5 workspaces, you can, and you want to sync all of the settings, so you can actually do that. So for example, if you have a purple theme on one workspace and you want that to be consistent with all of your other workspaces moving forward, you have like settings sync that you can play around with as well. But yeah, this should look familiar to you, and that's essentially what you get when you first open up a Gitpod workspace. I also just want to focus our attention on this Gitpod YAML file, and this is essentially the magic of all of the automation efforts that I talked about earlier. So we have a Gitpod YAML file that allows you to, in this case, start a development environment by using just this tasks. You just list a bunch of tasks, which opens up different terminals. And all of what that does is essentially when you open a Gitpod workspace, it automatically starts the development environments because you've already specified it in the gitpod.yaml file. And you can see I've also got ports on there, and that lists the ports that I want opening, and the on open in that YAML file means open in preview. And what that actually does is as soon as it all starts up, when you start your workspace, it does an npm install, it does an npm run dev, it opens your server in port 3000, and it opens it in a preview on the side. So as soon as you open it with just one click, everything is ready for you, and you can start coding and just get into it, rather than looking at all these different config files and making sure that it's all like working and updated. And I'm sure we've all been there, going through config files that have changed or whatever it is. So yes, and so key Gitpod features. So some of the key Gitpod features are pre-build ephemeral dev environments, and you also, like I said, get a full Linux machine. So let's just talk about pre-builds here. So Gitpod, like I said, continuously builds your Git branches, just like a CI server. So it downloads and installs dependencies, run build scripts, and you name it. Gitpod takes care of all of that before you start a new dev environment, so you don't have to wait, which allows you to start your work straight away. And all of your co-workers benefit from that too, and whoever you're collaborating with. Ephemeral dev environments. So dev environments as code basically assures that you're always starting from a clean state. And so instead of all of those conversations which we've all had, like, all the conversations we've all had, like, oh, it works on my machine, why doesn't it work on yours? That we can just finish that. It's all over. Because once you have a consistent environment, it's just consistent every single time. So we no longer have the whole thing that goes, oh, I don't understand why it's not working on mine when it works on yours. So you essentially just start a new workspace, you code, push your code, and you just forget about it. So for your next task, whether that's reviewing a PR, adding a new feature, or helping a colleague, you get a fresh development environment each time. And that is pretty cool. And lastly, the full Linux machine. So you get a Linux shell with root and sudo, and a file system, and basically the full VS Code editing experience, including extensions, language support, and all of the tools and binaries that run on Linux. So yeah, it's pretty cool, and the automated features are really awesome. So demo. I'm just having a quick look at all of these comments. Oh, it's awesome that you're so happy and excited about Gitpod as well. Thank you so much for all the hype. Again, let me know if you have any more questions, but I'll show you a quick demo just to try and demonstrate the power of it. So you should be able to see my repo. This is my website, my personal portfolio that I've been building and rebuilding over the past few years. And it's one of my favorite projects because I really got into this one. When, as you can see, 275 commits of just me adding stuff, deleting stuff, and it's been a really fun project I've started like over the years. So I've already got the Gitpod extension installed, and you can see it here by this shiny green button, Gitpod. And all I need to do if I want to start editing straight away is click Gitpod. And what you can see is it's starting a Gitpod workspace for me, pulling container image. That's the Gitpod container image. And it should be done in just a second. I'm always nervous when I do demos because the last 2 times I've done a demo, if any of you were hanging out maybe in Eddie's demo a few weeks ago, it got stuck. So, but it doesn't always do that. So it just happens to be whenever I'm live. But essentially, it starts creating my workspace, and you can see it should be pulling a image soon. It's always whenever I'm live. So whilst we wait here, I can take any questions. So I've seen, I like that Linux feature as I am using Windows, so I can use a Linux and Gitpod. Yes, that's awesome. I'm here to learn something new. You're in the right place. I have never used Gitpod, but it looks interesting. Definitely going to use it. Yes, give it a go. Definitely. Thanks for all the support on the workspace opening up. We actually, I knew this was going to eventually pop up, but sometimes whenever, for some reason, when I do live streams, it's always like the demo gods are against me. But yeah, as you can see here, I've got the full VS Code experience all from my browser, and you get your own URL for it that's randomized. And as you can see here, I've actually got a Gitpod YAML file. So we'll have a look at what this Gitpod YAML file says. So we've got our tasks, which is part of the Gitpod config, and it essentially lists a task to run once you start your workspace. So when this dash signifies a new terminal. And in this case, we've got one, two. We've got two terminals. And you can see it corresponds here. Here, we've got terminal one and terminal two. I've called first one install dependencies and run the server. And I've got git bash as well, just for git. And as you can see here, again, the install dependencies, the init, so that's initialization command, is to do an npm install and do an audit fix. I don't remember why I put that there, but there you go. And then you've got a command. So this is actually in different steps. So init goes first, and then command goes next. So it's saying here, once you've installed all of the dependencies, do a run dev, and then open mode is essentially referring to the terminal itself. So in this case, we've split it on the left. And then again, I wanted just one for playing around with Git. So I've got a little command that does an echo for Git, and then split right, which corresponds to this. And then this one, it opens up a port, which then on open opens in the browser. I think it's still actually kicking off an installation here, which is why it hasn't popped up straight away. Yeah, I don't think it's done an npm run dev because I included an audit fix, and now it's doing all the audit fixes. There you go. And I had a pop-up block. So let's just do, let's have a look. Is that going to open? Okay, so you can go to ports, and then you can either view it here in preview, or you can view it on the browser. So you have those two options. Although right now I'm worried that I did push something earlier, and I think it might have broke my, yeah, it did break my environment, which is maybe why you can't see this running right now. But essentially, if I didn't break it before this demo, my website would pop up here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've got an issue with my actual, okay, I've got an issue with my actual Next.js app. There you go. That's tech for you, isn't it? But yeah, that needs to be fixed. But essentially, you can see it all in action. Gitpod automates all of these startup tasks. So when you want to start developing, it's all ready for you, and you can just start coding. In my case, when I open this, I can just start fixing this issue because obviously it's not compiling for some reason. So straight after this live stream, I'll definitely go and fix this issue. But I hope this gives you a good overview of what Gitpod looks like. Like I said, you can install any extensions that you want, and this can also sync between your different workspaces as well. And so yeah, that's essentially Gitpod. And once you've finished like coding and you've like committed your changes, you can always just close it, and then you're done. That's absolutely fine. You also have a Gitpod dashboard. So if you go on Gitpod.io, you can see a list of all of your workspaces. So for example, if you want to open one that you were playing with earlier, you can open that. You can rename it, you can download it, you can share it, or you can pin it. Pinning just puts it at the top of this list, and it doesn't get automatically like deleted once you haven't like used it in a while. Again, I hope this demonstrates the power of ephemeral environments. As you can see, I've got loads of workspaces, and some of them in different branches, and that's because whenever I want to build a new feature, or I want to look at raising a PR to contribute to open source, it's all there. I can just switch between contexts, and yeah, that's essentially what you can get from there. Hope that made sense. Okay, and that is the demo. So let me just talk about the benefits of Gitpod. I hope I demonstrated why it's so powerful and why it's so cool. But for hackathons specifically and workshops, I find it to have that extra benefit. Like I said here, you can share your workspace. So sharing is as easy as sending someone a URL. So like I showed you in the Gitpod workspace, you click the share button, you get a a warning that actually says, remember, whoever you share this with can see your code and all of that. So make sure that you trust whoever you're sending it to. And then once you send that to someone, they can get started and help and collaborate with you. And alternatively, you can also share a snapshot, which is pretty cool. And number 2 is contribution. So I know a lot of people in this community absolutely love open source, and I've seen so many people talk about it. So if you ever wanted to contribute to an open source project, but you're like, oh, there's so many steps, and you've tried going through the steps of setting it up locally and it still doesn't work, people often feel like, oh, never mind, I just won't contribute, or I'll just do something else, because there's so much friction. But Gitpod just makes sure that the whole contribution process is a lot easier. So you can just click the Gitpod button and set it up straight from your browser, which is pretty good. And there's no more of that onboarding processes as well. And I think that's also very applicable to hackathons. So you can all work together on setting up and Gitpodifying a project. And once that project is all Gitpodified, if a new person joins your team or last minute for any reason, which has happened to me before, then they can get started straight away with Gitpod. And number 3 is accessibility. So I know not everyone has the latest and greatest machine, and Gitpod. One of the things that Gitpod does, and that I love the most, is that it really lowers the entry to coding. Anyone can get started with coding. You don't need a fancy machine. You can, if you have a tablet or if you have a slower computer, Gitpod is the place to go, because you don't need a super powerful machine just to get coding. You just need the browser and an internet connection, and it all works. Awesome. So those are the benefits of Gitpod. And getting started is very easy and very fast. So here are just a couple of pointers on what you can share with your teams or with other people if you're really excited about Gitpod as well. So we've got some of our noteworthy blog posts. I think my favorite from there has to be how teams use the Gitpod integration in GitLab. The GitLab and Gitpod integration is very, very good. It's almost seamless. It's wonderful. It is seamless. So yeah, check those out. We also have some excellent documentation to help you get started. And I recorded some screencasts last month, and we've updated them. So if you have any more questions that I don't answer in the screencasts, then make sure you can chat to us on our community Discord channel. You can head over there, gitpod.io/chat, if you want to chat to us, and we can, our whole community is more than happy to help you out. And also, this is the best advice I can give you if you want to get started with Gitpod, and that is honestly, just get started and try opening one of your repos in Gitpod and see the magic. Play around with the Gitpod YAML file, and yeah, experience the joy of using Gitpod and being, sort of detached from your local environment as well. But yeah, thank you so much. I'm very aware I talked very passionately about how much I love Gitpod there. I hope that you've learned a lot from this talk, and you can contact me on Twitter, or my email is there if you want to get in touch directly. But thank you so much, everyone.
Awesome. That was wonderful indeed, Pauline. Thanks a lot for sharing all of those insights around Gitpod and your experiences as well.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Let's bring in some questions if you have a bit of.
Yes, yeah. 10
Cool.
minutes, let's go.
We'll do it. All right. I see one question from Anushka. Do we need to connect our GitHub, GitLab account to work on, or we can directly pick any repos?
That's a really good question. Yes, you do need a GitHub, GitLab, or Bitbucket account to link up to your repos to get started. Yeah.
Awesome. I guess you already answered this, but can we use Gitpod to work collaboratively?
Yes, yeah, we can. So like I said, we have that share feature. Just a bit of a note on the share feature. We still have this we hope that one day we can have more of the Google Docs style, whenever you're in a Google Doc and you can see people when they're typing and you can see like little cursors. We we want to build something like that, but right now it's a lot more like, if you give it a go, you can see it's basically, you can see somebody type, but you don't see a cursor, but it's still there. So yeah, you can work collaboratively, and I suggest like someone give it a go with their hackathon project. I'd love to see how you get on.
Yeah, awesome. That would be wonderful. Another question from Raj. I have seen that in Gitpod there are various templates to get started. So can we create an empty workspace without any template?
That's a really good question. Yeah. So we can't actually, there's actually no way to create like an empty workspace. You actually first need to create a GitHub repo. So all of the templates that we have on the website, if you just want to have a play around with those templates. But if you want to start coding from scratch, you'll need to go, for example, on GitHub, create a new repo, and then trigger the HTTPS gitpod.io and then hash onto that repo. And then that kicks off Gitpod in that empty workspace. So yeah, I hope that is something that our other users have talked about and have requested as a feature. And yeah, that's coming up. You can, I forgot to mention, we are an open source company. So if you go on Gitpod on GitHub, you can see our whole roadmap. You can see all the feature requests, and yeah, having your input there would be super useful if you have any questions or feedback. So yeah, thank you for that question.
Awesome, wonderful. Can we use Gitpod in Kubernetes?
Oh, so as in self-host, because if you're talking about putting Gitpod on Kubernetes, like maybe EKS or something like that, or the equivalent in different cloud platforms, that is possible. We have self-hosted options. I have to admit, I'm not a self-hosted expert, but we have documentation, and in our Discord channel as well, we've got a dedicated self-hosted section. So if you want help deploying, then yeah, you can do that.
Absolutely. Make sure you join Gitpod server so that you can, get more insights around the same as well. Cool. Is there any workshops coming from Gitpods and any events which you're planning to do in future or near?
Yeah. Oh, this is such a good question. I'm so excited about that. Yes, yesterday we actually did a live stream on our recent release of OpenVS Code Server. So yeah, check that out. We've over communicated it. It's all over the internet now. But we are planning to do more live streams. We did one yesterday, and it was just so much fun. We had loads of community engagement. So yeah, we feel definitely very encouraged to do more. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. Follow us on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on the Discord, and yeah, just follow us on all of our channels to find out like the latest like events and live streams that we're definitely planning to do. Oh, I think am I still here? Oh, no.
Whoops.
You're back.
I guess. Oh, I'm glad I'm back. There was some glitch on my router, but I'm glad I'm back. So sorry for that. But
No
I
worries,
hope
no
you
worries.
answered this one.
Yes, I did. Yes.
Cool. Let me quickly jump onto the another one. Yes, we still have 5 minutes. Which is better, Gitpod or GitHub code spaces?
I love this question. I just want to say, like, GitHub Codespaces is amazing, and I think the hype around it has really brought to light the future of cloud development environments, and it's really exciting. It's really exciting to see like where the industry is headed. So obviously I am a Gitpod ambassador. I love Gitpod, so I'm very biased, and I would say I prefer Gitpod. With that said, I haven't actually tried Codespaces just yet. In terms of like learning the differences between Gitpod and Codespaces, we have a dedicated page just explaining the differences between them, and I think it really helps. I'll send that maybe later in the Discord channel, but it really helps just picture the differences between them, and also allows you as an individual contributor, as an individual engineer, to make up your choice, whichever you like the most. You can try both of them, and I think Codespaces isn't readily available to everyone just yet, but Gitpod is, so you can get started for free on private and public repositories for 50 hours. So give it a spin. Tell us what you think about it. But yeah, it's just overall my answer to that is give it a go and tell us which one you like the best. And also, just to say, we're both doing some really great things, and both teams are working super hard. And it's really inspiring to be sort of at the forefront of this massive change in our industry. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot. Is Gitpod safe to use?
Oh, that's a good question. It is very safe to use. We are very secure as well. I can send some security documentations if you are interested in sort of the security side of things. But yeah, 100% safe to use. I think the only thing I would say right now, and I think I've mentioned it before, is whenever you share a workspace, make sure it's someone you trust and you're not just sharing workspaces with the whole world.
Yeah, absolutely. I see so many questions coming in. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. But I'll quickly pick some of the very important questions.
Yes.
What hardware infrastructure Gitpod provides is for free?
Oh, this is one I don't know the answer to. Do you mean like do you think Gitpod runs on a VM? Because it doesn't. It's on a
Yeah.
container, if that makes sense. And I don't actually know the details of this, but I can definitely get some more details of like the if you mean like specs of what the workspace you get, I can definitely get that through you to you. But yeah, I don't know that one from the top of my head.
Sure, no worries at all. Any VS Code extension available on Gitpod?
Yes, so VS Code extensions are available on Gitpod, but we actually don't use the VS Code marketplace that you may all already know and love. We actually use OpenVSX, which is sort of the same thing, but if you install like an extension on Gitpod, or you try and search for one and you can't find it, it's a very likely chance that it's not on OpenVSX. So definitely check out that repo and raise an issue to see if anyone can put that there. And then it
Right.
should then work on Gitpod. But yeah, again, I'll send the links for that. Very good question.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot. One last question I see. Can you install Gitpod on Google Cloud Platform?
Yes, you can. Yeah, again, that's a self-hosted question. We have documentation for that. Again, not a self-hosted expert, but if you join us on Discord and you have any questions specifically around installation of Gitpod on a self-hosted way, then we can definitely help you out with that.
Awesome, that's wonderful. Thanks a lot, Pauline. Do not see any further question. I skipped few questions, but I assure you that you can definitely find the answers to that in the docs of Gitpod. So make sure you visit there and check that out as well. But it was indeed a wonderful time. Pauline, thanks a lot for joining us. The audience is like quite happy. Hackers over here at Hack This Fall are definitely looking forward to learn something new out of this,
So much
and
hype.
it has been fulfilled. So thanks
Yeah.
a lot for all of
Thank
those
you for
insights.
having me.
It's our pleasure. And I do have one last question. From your experiences out of hackathons, do you have any suggestions or recommendations for our hackers at Hack This Fall?
Oh, that's such a great question. Thank you for asking. Yeah, for me, I think um, from my experience, I've done quite a few hackathons, and I judged some of them as well. And I think the thing that stands out to me is that teamwork aspect. Like, if the product isn't 100% complete, don't stress out. We've had submissions before where teams haven't been able to think of any idea, and they maybe thought of something the last minute and they just draw it out on a piece of paper. But the teamwork and the effort and the passion was really shown, and for me
Yeah,
that was like the most important. So like, if hackathons can be quite stressful, but make sure that you take care of yourself and take care of each other, because at the end of the day, hackathons are a community event. We're all friends here, we're all helping each other out. So yeah, that's probably my main advice going into Hack This Fall. Just collaborate, and yeah, take it easy. It can be quite a stressful environment, but at the end of the day, you're there to have fun.
that's wonderful indeed. Thanks a lot for sharing that. And once again, lots of purple hearts in the chat, especially for Pauline. Thanks a lot for bringing that at first place in the start as well. And really appreciate it. Thanks, Pauline, once again for joining us. And I'll see you later. And you can send the required links, and I'll be able to share those links in the server as well. Or if you want to share, that's absolutely fine as well. Cool. That was wonderful. Thanks, Pauline. I know you are running late, but appreciate your time over here.
Thank you so much, all. It's lovely hanging out with you.
Awesome. Cool, everyone. Thanks a lot for all of your energy in the chat and appreciate all of your involvement, interactions, and engagement in the chat, asking questions, helping each other, bringing in your favorite emojis and whatnot. I've already shared the feedback form link in the chat. Make sure you fill that up so that you can grab your certificates from this particular stream. Other than that, if you haven't registered yourself yet, what are you waiting for? We are super close to hit 1700 registrations for Hack This Fall. So make sure you register yourself. We are still 20 days before we start our hackathon. So we have got so much of time with us. Make sure you all check out all our previous speaker sessions as well to learn something new and gain some wonderful insights from our experienced speakers over here. Make sure you check out our schedule. We still have one more session coming up on 5th of October, which is going to be the last speaker sessions. I'm feeling very bad and sad saying that, but yes, it is the last one. If you haven't joined our Discord yet, make sure you join us. And don't forget to earn your swags from our Hack This Fall swag page. Let me quickly announce the giveaway winner from this particular live stream as well. And the winner is Vidhi Sareen. Thanks a lot, Vidhi, for your wonderful contributions in the chat. Make sure you DM me on Discord so that I can guide you with the further steps. That was pretty much. Phew, thanks everyone. I'll take a leave now and see you in our upcoming session, which is on 5th October, which is from our diamond sponsor, Filebase. So make sure you join us over there as well. It's definitely going to be a wonderful one. Take everyone. Bye bye. I'll take a leave.